Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the hardship of succeeding. Success is probably the most sought after thing in anyone's life, if you look at it as a whole. And as the whole society, we have a lot of sin, a lot of bad things happening, but overall, in someone's life, what they desire most is success. And to any one person, success may look like finding a relationship, getting a job they've always wanted, buying something that will allow them to do something that they consider amazing. And it sounds obvious that you'd have to go through some hard things to get there, but I think it deserves some discussion. Because I think people expect things to be too easy. And then when it's not, they give up and stop trying. But you shouldn't do this. Because success involves hardship. It's inherent to its nature. Perhaps that's why it's called success. If you break it into two words, and perhaps this is a little non-kosher for my channel, but it could be said to sound like sucks ass, which is definitely the case. Many times. Because on the road to get there, you're going to have to let yourself go. And not in the sense of falling into a pit of sadness or something similar, but in the sense that you have to let go your preconceptions, which are the cause of you not succeeding. It's often said that mindset is the most powerful thing when it comes to improving yourself, because if you believe that you can do something, well, then you'll just do it. It'll become a habit. Subconscious forms a lot of who we are, and what you tell yourself impacts you more than you might imagine. If you wake up every day, look in the mirror, and tell yourself that you will never be successful, you probably won't be, unless you change that. And this isn't because of some weird universal rule that when someone says something, they jinx themselves. It's because your subconscious is impacted. By saying that, you make it more likely for you to not try. Because if that is what you honestly believe, then why try? And this sounds obvious on the surface, and you might think to yourself, oh, but I am trying. Maybe you aren't. And here's what I mean by that. Trying is the act of taking something that you want to do and giving yourself to it in a way that makes sacrifices to you. For example, if your dream job is to become a construction worker, you may have to spend money on school instead of just going straight into working. Now, this is a very minor example, and something that sounds very obvious, and that's why I chose it. Because indeed, this applies to everything. Every form of success that you might long for will mean making sacrifices. Whatever area you want to improve yourself in, you're going to have to make sacrifices. And most of the time, these will be short term, but sometimes they won't be. Sometimes what makes up you will have to change. It'll have to grow in ways that right now you can't fully understand. And not to say that you're incapable, but that your mindset doesn't allow these things to exist. For example, me, when I do my schoolwork. For a long time now, I've had this deep-set belief that when my brain gets tired or foggy, I'm incapable of doing something. And what this results in is when I'm tired, which is most of the time, I just don't do it. It's caused a lot of problems for me, naturally, but the main problem is mindset. And it's easy to look at that and think, well, if you just slept better, none of this would have happened. Well, you might be right. If I'd slept perfectly every night, I probably would have been decently productive every day, if all else was perfect. But all else won't be perfect, and there will be nights that you don't get a good sleep. There will be days where you just don't feel like doing anything, and that is why mindset is so important. Because mindset isn't the act of what you tell yourself right now, today. Mindset is the average of everything you tell yourself over a given period of time. Just because you tell yourself you can do something right now doesn't mean that things will instantly change. You have to concentrate on this and allow it to become a part of who you are for it to really take shape and transform what you are doing. Sacrifice, as the cornerstone of success, is something that people become very familiar with over time. And it's very easy to think that that sacrifice truly is a sacrifice in the truest sense of the word, in that it will be horrific, it will be painful. But, as in all, this is a duality, because it will be painful. But if you could talk to yourself 20 years from now, and I'm not talking 20 years from now as you think you will currently go, 20 years from now, if you decide to become successful, that person is going to say that you need to let those things go. You need to tell yourself that you can do it. You need to stop making excuses. And they'd also say that that sacrifice is nothing compared to the pain of not trying. Because after a while, once you make this decision to become successful, it becomes a habit. And the way you reinforce this is when you fall, when you don't feel like doing it. That happens very rarely. Because there will be days like that. But if you make a habit of it, a habit of being successful, a habit of trying, then you will be. And this isn't some crazy thing I read online somewhere. In fact, I don't think I've read it anywhere. But this is what I've come to experience in my limited time here. So the main things that I want you to take away from this video is that if you want to be successful, you have to start telling yourself that you have the ability to be successful. And if you want to be successful, you're going to have to make sacrifices. But those sacrifices pale in comparison to how you would feel if you didn't try. Change your mindset. Change your life. And I don't expect this video to change things permanently. At best, I'll probably just be a sliver of inspiration, and it'll be productive for a day or two. But that's not what I want to happen. I want you to do some soul searching, just as I've done, because that's what needs to happen for change to take place. You can't depend on anyone else for the change that you need to see in your success. And there might be situations where you have little control over the ways that others negatively impact us. And there might also be situations where others positively impact us and make it very easy. But ultimately, it's you who has to decide to be successful. And it's a lot like a marriage vow. It should be through rain or shine, whether you feel horrible or whether you're feeling great. And if you can maintain this habit, if you can train yourself to always search for this success, I think you'll do great. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Or rest of your night, but you should really fix your sleep schedule, just saying.
Bloopers time.
Yeah.